It's my first year being a teacher, so it was my first year on Thanksgiving break. I'm so so excited to get my break. I'm so excited that I'm doing some extra work around class so I can make my couple weeks easier. And I wanted to make a fantasy football video because I'm so excited and I just want to help you guys out. And so we got some stardom or some situm. I'm going to go through all the games that's going to be on this weekend. Yesterday, we had Tennessee versus Pitt. Tennessee got blowtorched, as we know, 40-17. AB went off for like 3 TDs, and Big Ben threw 4. Juju Smith kind of disappointed us a little bit. He had, actually, let's go look at his stats. I think he had 4 catches. Right, he had 4 catches for about 47 yards. They missed him in the end zone one time, so he could have scored. And he caught a pass. He was down on the 2 yard line, so he actually could have scored. So he's still looking like the number 2 receiver. He was looking really nice out there. I really like him. He's a USC guy, and I always liked him. He's a really he's a good looking receiver. He's nice. Le'Veon Bell disappointed us. He had 12 carries, 46 yards. I think he had 5 receptions, so he might have saved some of you guys in a PPR league, but he kind of disappointed us a little bit. On the Tennessee side, definitely Marcus Mariota disappoints with 4 picks, looking like some dumpster trash can water. He threw 4 picks, 1 touchdown, but he threw for 300 yards. I know he didn't help you guys out too much if you started him. Hope you didn't, because he's not a good QB. I always thought he was a bust. Spread QBs are bust. But going on, Derrick Henry, 7 carries, 30 yards. DeMarco Murray didn't help you out neither. Rashard Matthews, I think, had like a 75-yard bomb. He had 1 touchdown, 113 yards. He's the only guy that might have helped you out with Tennessee. So that's that game. I mean, whatever. So going on to the upcoming games this week. Let's see. We got our first game is, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. We got Detroit versus the Bears. In that game, I'm taking Detroit because Matt Stafford, he's looking pretty nice out there. Marvin Jones, he had a couple monster weeks, but last week he didn't do all that well. You know, he was kind of a no-show. And Golden Tate took the reins back when he came back in the starting lineup because he was injured. So Matthew Stafford, I'm starting him against the Bears. You know, you can start Matt Stafford. Matthew Stafford's a gunslinger, and he's from Highland Park, right? Dallas, yeah. So I always love Matt Stafford. He's a gunslinger. I like him a lot. On the other side of the ball, we got Mitchell Trubisky. He is not startable. If you start him, you wouldn't even stream him. None of that. Don't start him. A guy that people think they feel like he always has a chance is Jordan Howard going on the running backs. Jordan Howard on the Bears, he's disappointed us a few weeks in a row. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I wouldn't play him. I would sit him. I guess maybe he's a running back 2 for you. Amir Abdullah on the other side of the ball with Detroit. He gets tackled by anybody. He can be tackled by Paris Hilton probably. So I mean, but you might start him though because his game script is going to be probably that they're going to be ahead and they're going to have to run the ball, run out the clock. So Amir Abdullah, he might be a start for you, but he gets tackled very easily. He'll probably score a touchdown, goal line touchdown. So I say start him. Just go ahead. He's not that great of a running back though, honestly. Tariq Cohen, he's not gonna see the field probably all that much. They kind of gave up on him. He had a few monster weeks in probably the first, second, third week of the season. He did pretty good, but he's been a no-show since. Golden Tate, Marvin Jones in Detroit at receiver. Golden Tate, definite start. He's Matt Stafford's favorite target since last year. Golden Tate, he's a start. Marvin Jones, I also think he's a start as well. He disappointed us last week, but 2 weeks in a row he had like high teen fantasy points, so he's a start. I like Marvin Jones a lot. I got him in both. I got him in a couple of leagues, and I got Golden Tate. And I want to say one of my leagues, he's nice. On the other side of the ball, let's see. Chicago, don't start a receiver for Chicago. Wouldn't do it. Tight end, not starting a tight end in this game. Eric Ebron, I'm not touching him. Defense, definitely, I would say Detroit's defense. Going against Trubisky, Detroit's defense, you can start them. All right, going on to our next game, we got Jacksonville versus Cleveland. Jacksonville, I think they're the number one defense this year. I think actually in fantasy, Houston might be the number one defense, but I know Jacksonville, and they have the best corner in Jalen Ramsey, and they have a monster front seven. Their defense has been insane. Going to QBs, Jacksonville, we got Bortles. He actually have him. I was streaming him in a league actually because I think I had Ryan and Matt Ryan, and he hasn't been having that great of a season. So I picked up Bortles, and Bortles did decent for me a couple weeks, and I was like, hey, just pick up Bortles. They got a great defense. They get the ball in short field. I picked up Bortles. Would I start him in this game against Cleveland? Sure. I mean, they're playing Cleveland. They're the worst team in the league. Maybe top three worst teams, Giants and 49ers, but Cleveland's not good. They might have some upside in a few years, but they're not seeing anything soon. We know that. Let's see. So Bortles could be a start. Deshaun Kaiser, I'm not starting anyone for the Browns ever. Maybe Duke Johnson, because he gets the ball in passing situations. He catches passes well out the backfield. So you can maybe go with Duke Johnson if you need to. If you need a stream, just somebody for this week in place of somebody in a bye week. Fournette, he's questionable. I think he's going to play. Fournette, I don't know what's up with this guy. I think him and management don't get along or something. Not even sure. So with Fournette, I wouldn't trust him. I play Yahoo Fantasy, daily fantasy. The maximum I think someone can be is like 40 or 41, something like that. He's 40, and you only get a limit of $200 for your entire team, and he's 40. I wouldn't touch. He's too much. If he has a monster game against Cleveland, because he probably will, but he's been having some real iffy weeks. Last week he really didn't do anything last week. I remember. Yeah, he had 17 rushes for 33 yards against the Chargers. The Chargers actually have a great defense, but he shouldn't be going for 33 yards on 17 carries. That's a high school running back in the NFL. He can do that. All right, Duke Johnson, I wouldn't start him. If you have to, go ahead. Isaiah Crowell, sit him. Let's see, going on to receivers. Marquise Lee, I think he's injured. Let's look at his injury report. It says removed from injury report. So he's going to play. I'm not too sure, if he's 100% or anything like that, but I know last week he had a pretty good week. I know he scored a touchdown. Yeah, he had 16 fantasy points, 11 targets, 6 receptions, 55 yards and 1 touchdown. And he has 2 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. And I know Allen Hurns is going to be out. Yeah, Allen Hurns is out. And so he might be somebody to lean on, definitely, especially against Cleveland. So I'm looking for him. I want to say Corey Coleman's coming back. And I want to also say Josh Gordon might be coming back this week or something like that from his 5-year-long suspension because he just can't put down weed or whatever. I think he might be coming back. I don't know what his role is going to be. I mean, we know he was great 3 years ago, but now, for all I know, he could be a fat guy. I don't know. Corey Coleman, he's always been a great receiver to me. I think he's been amazing from Baylor. Baylor always has crazy good receivers, but I'm not starting him against Jacksonville. Even though they don't even have that many targets to work with in Cleveland, he's probably going to see a lot of targets. I don't see him doing anything with it because their defense is just so insane. Let's see. Mercedes Lewis. I'm not touching any of the tight ends. Mercedes Lewis doesn't really see the ball. And, of course, I'm starting Jacksonville's defense. I think I actually have Jacksonville's defense in one of my leagues, so they will definitely be started. So the only thing you should look for in Cleveland, maybe Duke Johnson if you just have to stream somebody for this week. Other than that, all right, going on to Baltimore versus Green Bay. Baltimore's defense is decent. Flacco's back. When he's not injured, him and Jeremy Maclin have a good rapport. Jeremy Maclin works well with Joe Flacco. He's caught a few touchdowns this year when Joe Flacco's playing, so he plays decent when he's playing. So Flacco against Green Bay, I don't think he's really a start, but if you have to, if you got to stream somebody, I would just start him. Brett Hundley, never touch him. going on. Alex Collins, they said he's the feature back. He's been disappointing me a few weeks. I've actually started him in a few leagues, and he's been disappointing. He's also been disappointing me in Yahoo Fantasy. He's been about 13, 12, 13, $14, and I've been like, oh yeah, maybe I can get a sleeper for him. And he's not. The guy's not been panning out for me. He's been a disappointment to say the least. He's been going single digit points. He's not really been producing for me. He's gonna have a good game script maybe against Green Bay because they're gonna be down. They're gonna have to run the ball since they're gonna be up. Since Green Bay is gonna be down, Baltimore's gonna be up. So he might see some carries. I know Danny Woodhead's supposed to be coming back, and they got Buck Allen. Buck Allen is good out of the backfield. So is Danny Woodhead, but I'm not too sure when Danny Woodhead is supposed to come back. And Buck Allen, I know he's playing. So I wouldn't touch any of those guys though, unless you just have to outsit them. Ty Montgomery, he's going to be out. He's declared as out. Aaron Jones is out, so they're going with Jamal Williams. I think he's a 7th-round pick. Let's see. No, yeah. So it doesn't say what pick he is, but I think he was about a 7th-round pick. Last week he did pretty decent. He had 20 carries for 70 yards, 67 yards. So he might see the ball. They're gonna be down though, so he might not see it too much. Yeah, I mean, actually, he might be a sleeper. That might be an actual sleeper pick right there. Going on to receivers, Jordy Nelson. He's been awful for me ever since A-Rod went down. When they don't have discount double check, their whole team is horrible. Jordy Nelson, I don't touch him. Devontae Adams, him and Brett Hundley have actually had some rapport, actually. Devontae Adams has caught a few touchdowns from him. Jordy Nelson is invisible. He's Casper to him. He can't even see him. He can't even see the guy. So with Devontae Adams, let's see. Yeah, he's still been doing pretty decent. He had 90 receiving yards and a touchdown last week. I know last week they won against the Bears. They beat the Bears. So that shows you how bad the Bears are, actually. Jeremy Maclin, I think he's a start, definitely. Green Bay's defense is horrible. They have no DBs. Devontae Adams is a start. Mike Wallace, no, wouldn't do it. Randall Cobb, same thing, wouldn't touch him. Going on, not touching the tight end on here. And I'm starting Baltimore's defense, sitting the Packers defense if you have them. If you have them, I'm sorry. I don't know why you would, but Baltimore's defense is a definite start. Going on to our next game, we got Arizona playing Houston. Arizona has been awful this year. I don't know what happened. Arizona, I always thought that they were like Super Bowl bound. You know, they got Palmer, they got the running back, what's his name? Can't remember his name. David Johnson. You know, but we know he went down. But I think they said he got his cast off this week or something, and he was looking to play maybe still this year. But there's no reason because I mean they might have a chance in the wild card because I think if they win this game they'll be 500. So they might have a chance here and there. Not really, but they got AP, so they're definitely. I don't think they're gonna roll out David Johnson on a stretcher anytime soon. So, but Arizona and then Houston, I just really hate. I just really hate Deshaun Watson went down, man. He was killing it. He was about to have rookie records. The guy, I mean, I hate that people slept on him. People passed on him in the draft. Their coach, what's his name? Oh, he has a cool name. Golly, I cannot remember the dude's name. I'm gonna remember it soon. Clemson's coach. He said, hey, everyone's gonna be disappointed that they slept on him and that they passed on him. And they are, because the dude's been going crazy. He's out there honestly just looking like Drew Brees in 2010, dude. Like, dude was going crazy. He made Will Fuller relevant. Will Fuller was awful last year. This year, Will Fuller, I think in like week 6 or 7, he had like 5-6 touchdowns. Will Fuller was catching like 2 touchdowns a game almost. It was insane. And, he had D-Hop playing insane. He was like the #1 receiver in fantasy at one point. But going back to the matchups, let's see. We got QB Drew Stanton. He's questionable. I think he's going to be out because I think they're going with Blaine Gabbert. Blaine Gabbert, he's the bust out of Mizzou. Guy's horrible. I'm not really looking to start anybody on their offense, really. Let me see. Tom Savage, dude's been terrible. He's not very good. He's been trying to get it to D Hop. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, put me out there. I'm closing my eyes and I'm throwing up the D Hop. I mean, of course. So, I mean, I can do what he's doing. He's going to be awful. He might get D Hop a few times. He throws it to him like 20 times a game. Going with AP, he's going against a great run defense in Houston. We saw what he did last week against Seattle. He had, I want to say, 22 touches for 29 yards. Didn't do anything for me. I actually started him in Yahoo Daily Fantasy. It was horrible. It was horrible. I hate. He ruined my fantasy week. Like he ruined my entire week. It was awful. So Adrian Peterson against Houston, I'm sitting him. Lamar Miller against Arizona. Sorry, I'm kind of sick. But yeah, so Lamar Miller against Houston. Oh my God. Okay, Lamar Miller. He plays for Houston. He is the running back from Miami. I am tripping. He's playing Arizona. Houston's probably going to be up, even though Tom Savage is awful. So he's going to get some carries. I'm starting him. He's starting. Adrian Peterson is a sit. Lamar Miller actually might be my start of the week. Let's see. Going on to receivers, D Hop. You got to start him, but golly, it sucks that Tom Savage is the QB. I think Fuller's out. And so D Hop is gonna see probably 30 targets. He's just gonna throw it his way 30 times. And if you have him, you just gotta pray he catches about 10 of them. Because the past weeks he's been getting 14 targets, 16 targets. That's insane numbers. You know, you can't just depend on that every week. You know, guys even like Julio are getting like 10 targets a week, and he's getting 16 and 14. Out of 16 targets, he caught 6 passes. That's awful because Tom Savage is not good. Out of 14 targets, he caught 7 passes. So both times he had a good game, but, you know, you're just depending on Tom Savage. D-Hop, he's still a player. You got to play him. Larry Fitz, he's going with Blaine Gabbert. I would say you still got to play him too. Larry Fitz, the old man, has been still getting it done. 3 touchdowns this year, almost 700 yards receiving, 60 receptions. Dude's still getting it done, man. Like, he's a Hall of Famer, man. He's top 5 of all time. Larry Fitz is really just tearing it up still. I think he's like 34, 35. I don't even know. The dude is insane. 14 targets last week, 10 receptions, 113 yards. And that's against Seattle. I know Sherm went out, but still, that's insane. So Larry Fitz is always a start. Fuller's out. Those the only people we're talking about on there. I might have a sleeper for you, though. Let's see. Bruce Ellington for Houston might be a sleeper. We know Fuller's out. And, I mean, we know Arizona has Patrick Peterson. He's going to shadow him all game. He's going to shadow D-Hop all game. We know that. And so maybe, just maybe, your sleeper of the week can be Bruce Ellington, because the rest of that Arizona defense is terrible. The rest of those DBs, they're not getting it done this year. And so Bruce Ellington might can just squeak past, you know, maybe get a touchdown or two, you know, high 80 yards, go for about 18 fantasy points. I could see it, you know. So that might be actually my sleeper of the week. Jermaine Gresham actually has I think he has a touchdown the past 2 games. Yeah, he has a touchdown the past 2 games. He's I don't know. He's been doing some good stuff. So apparently the other QB, what was his name? Yeah, Drew Stanton. Apparently he was looking for him. Blaine Gabbert, you'll never know if he's going to be looking for him. Defense, start Houston's defense right now. If you have them, just put them in right now. Start them as many times as you can. Houston's defense is probably going to – the only thing, Tom Savage might turn it over. So, you know, but Houston's defense, they're going to be solid. A solid start this week. They might win you the week. Who knows? Next game, let's see. We got Minnesota versus the Rams, LA Rams, a.k.a. my team. We got Jared Goff. Dude's been tearing it up, man. Last year under Jeff Fisher, you know, he was looking like a bust. Come back this year, he's looking like the guy's looking like Brady in 2007, dude. Like, I'm not going to go that far. But he has 16 touchdowns to 4 picks. He only had 2 bad games. His 2 bad games were against the 2 best defenses in the league in like Seattle and Jacksonville. So those were his 2 bad games. Other than that, the dude, Mike Lee, my homie, said he looks like Ryan Gosling. It's so funny because he actually does look a lot like the actor Ryan Gosling. It's like the funniest thing ever. But him against Minnesota's defense, I'm not too sure if Xavier Rhodes went out. I know he went out, but I don't know if he's going to be active this week. I should have checked, but I'm not too sure. Even if he is active this week, I'm still going golf. I know I got him playing in one daily fantasy in Yahoo. I got golf going. He goes crazy. You know, he doesn't have a number one receiver as well. He's going to everybody. Robert Woods has been his number one receiver the past 2 weeks. Robert Woods has been killing it. I got him starting in one of my daily fantasies as well. But you know, definitely golf's been killing it. Bridgewater, I think he's back cleared to play, but I'm pretty sure Case Keenum's playing. Last week, I started Case Keenum when he threw the 4 touchdowns. I just felt like the man. I felt like the man. 4 TDs from Case Keenum. I've always loved Case Keenum. He's from Houston. He's a Houston guy because he went to Houston, U of H. I think he broke some records over there. You know, he's a gunslinger, so I love all gunslingers. So Case Keenum, he's a start as well. So both of those are going to be a start. We got Todd Gurley. He didn't last week. You know, he had 16. Oh, he had 16 fantasy points. I didn't know he had that much because I actually have him in one of my leagues. 11 rushes, 68 yards, no touchdowns. He had 6 receptions for 68 yards too, though. So, you know, he's really going to be Todd Gurley's a problem, you know, on the ground, in the air. You just want him to get in the end zone. You want him to get to like 100 yards, over 100 yards. But still, he's going to be a start every week. He's a number one running back. You know, he's definitely your running back one. McKinnon, between McKinnon and Murray, it's such a hard decision because McKinnon, you know, he's in the passing game more, but Murray has kind of took it over last week and the week before. Against Cleveland, Jerry McKinnon had 23 fantasy points. Dude's been going crazy. He had a rushing touchdown. He had 72 yards receiving. So, but last week he had 10 rushes, 32 yards, and 2 catches for 15 yards. Not really anything. But Latavius Murray's been having a few good weeks. You know, the week they played Baltimore, he had 17 fantasy points, 1 touchdown, and 113 yards rushing. In the last week against Washington, he had 17 rushes, 68 yards, and 1 touchdown. So be on the lookout for that. If I'm starting one of them against the Rams, Minnesota against the Rams, golly, man, it's such a hard decision. I think I'm just going to go with McKinnon because they're going to have to keep up with that Rams offense. They're back to being the greatest show on turf. They're going to have to keep up with that offense. So I'm going to say Jared McKinnon's going to catch passes. Latavius Murray, he's more like a bruiser because he's like 6'3", like 230. Jared McKinnon is a guy, he's like 5'8", 5'9", 205. So he's not going to, you know, be doing a whole bunch of bruising, definitely, especially if they're just trying to keep up with the Rams scoring. So I would go Jared McKinnon in there because they're going to have to throw the ball. He's a threat for the passing game. Teacher's still walking by getting copies done. I'm over here just making videos because I'm just so excited it's the break. You just don't even understand. All right, going on. This part excites me a lot. Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Last week they both went crazy. Adam Thielen has been going crazy. I think he was leading the league in receptions or receiving yards. I can't even remember, but you know, on the season he has 56 receptions, 793 yards. That's insane. I want to say he might lead in yards. I mean, probably not after AB last night, but almost 800 yards and only 2 touchdowns. But last week he just went crazy. 26 fantasy points for the guy. He's a must start. Stephon Diggs, same thing. He just came off injury. He's a must start. But last week, 4 receptions, 78 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 5 targets, and he went for 16 fantasy points. So both of them are must starts. If I had to choose in between one of them this week, I think I would go Thielen because I feel like he's the more consistent because Stephon Diggs has been injured. I think he was injured for 2 weeks, so I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. And I just remember having to sit him on the bench, and I hated it because he had two monster games. He had like 25 points, 2 games of 25 points in a row. It was insane. And so Diggs, Adam and Thielen and Diggs are both a must start. If I had to choose, I would go Thielen, to be totally honest. On the other side of the ball, we got Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, and Sammy Watkins. It just sucks having to choose between those because Cooper Kupp is a guy, he's like the slot guy, like the Wes Welker type guy, and he's gonna catch short routes. He's really dependable though. If you just need a guy, you're not trying to depend on him. He's like a wide receiver 3 or 4, maybe a flex. And so he's a guy you can depend on for about 8 fantasy points a game. Robert Woods is going to be your breakout guy, but it's no telling who's going to go to, who Goff's going to go to. So with Woods, I'm still saying he's the number one guy. Kupp, man, he's just really just a safe pick. Watkins, he's the one he has high upside because he's a game breaker. I don't really like Sammy Watkins. I never really did. But he's a game breaker though. He still is. And so you got to be on the lookout for that. So Robert Woods is a start. Cooper Kupp and Sammy Watkins is just a start if you just need, a stream for the week. Kyle Rudolph is a start, of course. He's a top 5 tight end. Let's see, in the defenses, I really don't want to start either defense because you got two offenses that can move the ball. They're high powered. So I don't want to start either of the defenses, but if I had to choose between one of them, I would go Rams defense because we know they got the monster front seven with Aaron Donald and against Keenum. Golly, Keenum's so good to me. I'm not gonna say he's so good, but he's an NFL starter to me. But still, I would go Rams defense. Oh gosh, I gotta spit now. Hold on. All right, the show must go on. Let's see our next game. We got Washington versus New Orleans. That's an interesting matchup right there. Drew Brees, he's going to be he's a Hall of Fame QB. We all know that, but he hasn't had to do much this year, to be totally honest. He has Michael Thomas and he has Ted Ginn actually revitalized. Well, I mean, he was actually revitalized back with the Panthers when Cam Newton was going crazy. What was that, 2 years ago, 2015? But Drew Brees didn't even throw a touchdown last week. He didn't throw a touchdown against the Bears either. I can't remember the last season where it was a game where he didn't throw a touchdown because the dude's incredible. He's one of my favorite QBs because he just slings it, man. He's playing well this year, but they haven't had to depend on him because the two-headed monster they have in the backfield in Kamara and Ingram. I have no idea how Ingram became a good running back. He was horrible when he got drafted, and now in like his year 6, he's like a breakout monster running back. I don't know how it happened. Don't ask me. Drew Brees. So against Washington, I would sit him. Drew Brees, they haven't had to lean on him at all this year. And Redskins defense, their offense is banged up, so they're not gonna. I don't see them putting up a lot of points this week. Kirk Cousins has been a top fantasy QB. I don't know how because he has no weapons, but he's been getting it done somehow. Last week he had 28 fantasy points. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. The guy is their LeBron James right now. He's doing it all for him. I don't know. It's weird. Start Kirk Cousins. Just start him. I mean, he somehow, some way he gets it done. Like you see, he had 2 rushing touchdowns, and the guy's slow. He's slower than all his linemen, and so he's going to get it done somehow, some way. He's going to get you some points. He probably might not win the game, but he's going to get you some fantasy points. That's all we care about. I mean, let's be real. Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara, start them both. If I had to choose, God, in this game, the thing is, if it's a shootout, I'm going Kamara because he's the pass catching threat. They throw him screens and he just goes crazy. If it's a blowout, if the game script is New Orleans just winning by like say 10, 13, they're gonna feed Mark Ingram. They're gonna feed Kamara too, but they're gonna more feed Mark Ingram. So it really just depends on if the Redskins can score. I don't think they're going to score this week, and so I would say Mark Ingram. I would go Mark Ingram over Kamara. Personally, In daily fantasy, I'm starting both of them because both of the guys last week, I think Mark Ingram had 3 TDs. I think he had 31 fantasy points. That's insane, dude. And Kamara, I actually had Kamara. I didn't touch Ingram. I had Kamara. He had 22 fantasy points. I was disappointed when I saw Mark Ingram had 3 touchdowns. I was like, oh my God, Kamara must not be doing anything. And I look up and he has 22 points, and I'm just like, well, I can't be mad. So I want to say, yeah, Mark Ingram's the number 2 running back in fantasy, and Kamara's the number 3 running back in fantasy this so far to date. And that's insane how the number 2 and number 3 are on the same team. That's like that's Kobe and Shaq, basically. That's insane. Chris Thompson, the only guy on the Redskins that I would think about starting on offense other than Cousins. He and I really don't even want to start him. He hasn't really been doing anything. He's a sit for me, honestly. I would sit him. I'm pretty sure it's somebody better than him. Michael Thomas, he's a start. Dude went crazy last week. I think he had 100. Yeah, he had 117 yards, 10 targets, 9 receptions. That's efficiency right there. With Breeze, you're gonna get that. No touchdowns, but still dropped 16 fantasy points just from having 117 yards receiving. So, Ted Ginn, trying to see what time it is. I know I gotta leave. But Ted Ginn, he's been playing actually pretty decent this year. He's a wide receiver 3 for me. If you just need somebody as a wide receiver 3, he's a start. I wouldn't have him as a wide receiver 2 or 1. You're probably in trouble if he's your 2 or your 1. So if he's your 3 or your flex, you might be good. I'm not touching a receiver on the Redskins. Jordan Reed's out. That's a sleeper pick right there. Vernon Davis. He's actually been pretty decent this year. The old school tight end. I remember at the combine like 75 years ago, whenever that was, he ran like a 4.3. It was insane when he ran his 4.3 at the combine. Dude's been filling in pretty decent for Jordan Reed since he's been kind of injury plagued all year. He has 11 points in his last game and 10 points, fantasy points in his game before that. So Vernon Davis is a sleeper pick. He's pretty decent. Defense, I would start New Orleans. I would start Saints defense because Washington's banged up again. Jamison Crowder, I think he's coming off an injury. Jordan Reed's out. They don't really have any weapons. Terrell Pryor didn't pan out. Josh Doxson, he's looking. They're trying to give him the ball, but I don't think he was so good at TCU. But he's looking like a bust. I hope that's not the case because I love the guy at TCU, but we'll see how it goes. All right, going. Oh dang. All right, going on. We got KC versus the Giants. KC's definitely going to win this game. We got Alex Smith. Start him. That's all. Just start him. Start anybody against the Giants defense. I would start KC's whole team. Eli Manning. Oh God. No, don't start him. You might want to start some of his weapons, but don't start Eli Manning. Kareem Hunt. He might have 50 fantasy points this week. They're going to be up. The game script is going to be in Kareem Hunt's favor. He's going to run for a lot of yards and probably multiple touchdowns, probably 2 or 3. Definitely he's a play. Orleans Darkwa, I have him in a few leagues. He's been kind of a sleeper guy. You've been waiting for him to just have a really, really good game. He hasn't really had it yet, but he's a guy. He gets the ball. He gets the ball. But the thing is, the Giants are never winning, so they just never get the just really just feed him like that. Sterling Shepard, start him. Him and Evan Ingram are all they have on that team since OBJ and Brandon Marshall went down. Start Sterling Shepard. It's either him or Evan Ingram getting the ball whenever it goes in the air. Eli's gonna have to throw probably 50 times, and so Sterling Shepard's a start, even though he's going against a great defense. Tyreek Hill, definite start. He's going to run crazy on the Giants' defense. Their defense has given up, and he's going to go crazy on them. Just hold on real quick. Hello? Hey, I'm trying to make this video. I got to call you back. I think she's mad at me. Okay. Tyree, he's the only one I'm starting on that team, or with the receivers. Travis Kelce, he's going to catch like 4 touchdowns this week. start him. Evan Ingram, like I said, him and Sterling Shepard are the only ones that get the ball in the air. So I think he's actually number one fantasy tight ends in targets. He's number one in targets. He's a definite start. Let's see. He might actually be the start of the week. And Chiefs defense all day. Just, yes, very much so. All right, going on to Tampa Bay versus Miami. Let's see. Both teams are so bad. I'm taking Miami, but golly, both teams are so bad. Jay Cutler, he actually had a decent week. What was that, last week? No, the week before last against Oakland, 3 touchdowns. Oh my God, Mike, I'm sorry, dog. He was really dotting y'all up. He went 34 for 42, 300 yards. That's Jay Cutler. Sorry about my voice. I'm kind of sick. The voice cutting out. But Jay Cutler against Tampa Bay, start him. Honestly, I would start him. Tampa Bay's that bad that we're starting Jay Cutler. Jameis Winston's out. So, they got in Ryan Fitzpatrick. I know it's Fitzpatrick, but I like to call him Fitzpatrick. But yeah, I've always respected Ryan Fitzpatrick because he's been playing for a lot of years. I think like 12 years, and dude's always, majority of the time he's starting on a team. I know he's not starting this year. He was the backup, but he's starting on a team a lot of the time, either the Jets, Houston. He's a star. I mean, I respect the guy, and he'll throw it up there too. So, Doug Martin, he's been awful. If you got him, just cut him. He's been terrible. He had 20 rushes last week for 51 yards and like 5 fantasy points. He's been awful. Just cut him. Kenyon Drake, that dude's a sleeper, man. I swear the guy's a sleeper. He's a fast guy. Last week against Carolina, he had 7 rushes for 82 yards. I mean, off 7 rushes. They just stopped giving him the ball because I think they alternate drives, running backs with drives. I don't understand why they do that when you got one guy just killing it. Before that, he had 9 rushes for 70 yards against Oakland. So yeah, the dude, I feel like they're gonna catch on and let him get the ball more. I think I actually have him starting in one. He's my sleeper of the week. He's a sleeper. Damian Williams, he's a pass catcher, running back, sort of out the backfield for him. He's not that good as a running back. Sit him. Receivers, you got Jarvis Landry out there. I got him in a league. Jarvis Landry, he's looking for him every time. He's getting averaging about 10, 12 targets a game. Start him. Mike Evans, of course, start him. He's going to go crazy, possibly. Fitzpatrick's just going to throw it up to him, honestly. Devontae Parker, I'm not starting him. He's a deep threat. He has high upside, but his ceiling, his upside is high. His ceiling, I don't know how low. He might not catch a pass, or he might go for 150 and catch a 75-yard bomb. You never know with Devontae Parker. I wouldn't start him, though. Kenny Stills, he's been having a pretty good year. He's a start. He's questionable. I don't know if he'll play. He had to leave practice, so yeah, he probably won't play. Oops. Tight ends. Cameron Brate, he's been a disappointment. He's been having a decent year, but the past 4 weeks he's had single-digit fantasy points. The past 2 weeks he's had 1 catch for 9 or 10 yards. Past 2 weeks, it's not very good. Sit him until he has a decent game. Sit him. O.J. Howard had his 1 breakout game a couple of weeks ago where he had, I want to say, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, against Buffalo, he had 25 fantasy points. He's a good tight end. I really think he's gonna come around. I remember him at Alabama. He's a good tight end, but not this year, not this week. Julius Thomas, start him. He's been having decent weeks. He's an old man, but you can start him, I guess. Defenses, don't touch either of them. If you have to, just go with Dolphins because they got Ndamukong Suh, and he might step on someone's windpipe, I guess, and crush it and win the. I don't know. I would say Dolphins. All right, going on to our next games. Let's see. We got a couple games left. You got Chargers and Buffalo. Let's see. We got Tyrod Taylor. They're benching him for the rookie. I want to say Nathan Peterman. Is that him that they're benching him for? I know it's not Joe Webb. So it's just this guy. Don't start him. Phil Rivers is questionable. I'm pretty sure he's gonna play. Let's see. It says he's questionable and he has a concussion protocol. You never know. I think he's going to play. QBs usually just play. They give him a shot. LaShawn McCoy, he's been disappointing us really badly. I started him in Yahoo Fantasy, and he got a whopping 2 points for me. I was just enthused. No, he was horrible for me against the Jets. 2.5 points, horrific. Against New Orleans last week, 7.5 points, which is abominable. If you start LaShawn McCoy, you expect him to at least have like 10 fantasy points. At the very minimum, like 8. No, at the very minimum, 10. And he's going for 2 and 7. That's unacceptable. Sit him until he has a good game. Melvin Gordon, he kind of Austin Eckler kind of took over his role last week. I don't know what happened there, but I would start him this week until he has another bad game. If he has 2 bad games, if this week if he has a bad game against Buffalo, sit him. But I would start him this week. Austin Eckler, I think he had like 70 yards and 2 touchdowns out the air, and the dude's a running back. And that was against Jacksonville. Golly, that was against Jacksonville too. That's insane. In a losing effort, but golly, he had a good game. If you're in a bye week and you just got to stream a guy, just start him. I guess just pray he gets the ball. I mean, he might. I wouldn't start him personally. I would wait till he has another decent game, see what he does this week. But if you just have to, golly, you must be running thin if you just have to. Let's see. We got Keenan Allen on the Chargers side. Start him. Go ahead. He hasn't been having a good year. He's been pretty disappointing, honestly. I think they said he's like the 26th, 28th receiver in fantasy this year. That's not the best, and he's their number 1 receiver. So, but he's their number 1 receiver. I'll start him. Kelvin Benjamin, I have him in a league. I don't really want to start him because I started him the week that he just got off the plane for Buffalo, and I'm kind of ashy. I'm sorry. I'm at school all day, and but I started him when he got off the plane for Buffalo, and he didn't have a good game. Actually, didn't even dress out. So this might be me being biased, but I'm not. I wouldn't start him until he has a good game. And then they're having new QB. He's a rookie, so that's all in the air. I'm not starting anybody or any of those guys. Zay Jones, no. Hunter Henry's been having some disappointing weeks. Really looking at him to get back on track. He's a good tight end. He's good, but he hasn't been. He had past 4 weeks not doing good. Anybody's defense, going Chargers defense. I actually have Chargers defense. I'm definitely starting them against a rookie QB. Starting Chargers defense, definitely. Oh, one play, Charles Clay, if he plays, look out for him because with rookie QBs, they sort of focus in on the tight end. They're going to get the ball to the tight end with rookie QBs. And so if he plays, he's still questionable, but if he plays, it might be a sleeper type pick. All right, going on to Cincinnati versus Denver. This is going to be a horrible game. Cincinnati has an awful offense, so does Denver. Cincinnati has Dalton. He's terrible. Just sit him. He's going against Denver's corners. I know Carson Wentz threw 4 TDs on those same guys, and on Talib, Chris Harris, and all those boys. Von Miller out there too, but sit Andy Dalton. I don't know why anybody would ever play Andy Dalton any week. I don't care if he's playing East Senior High, where the guy for McKinney ran for like 800 yards and like 10 touchdowns or whatever. I'm still sitting Dalton. Osweiler. Is he even playing? I think. No, Paxton Lynch isn't playing. Brock Osweiler's still playing. Sit him. C.J. Anderson, he's going to be the best running back out of their three running back tandem of him, Devontae Booker, and Jamal Charles. Against Cincinnati, start him. Because if they go up by 10, 13, he's going to get the ball. They're going to grind it. So, hey, Joe Mixon's been a huge disappointment this year. Everybody thought he was just going to be a monster running back. He's been not the best. I think he was averaging 2.2 yards a carry. Golly. Actually drafted him, I want to say like fourth or fifth round in one of my fantasy leagues. I've been holding on to him because his ceiling really isn't that low. Like his ceiling. No. I'm sorry. His floor really isn't that low in fantasy because he still gets about 8 points, most of the time here and there. But his upside is very low. He doesn't really score, doesn't break off big runs. He's just some guy back there, honestly. So don't start him. AJ Green, definite start. I know they're playing the Broncos with a great defense, but AJ Green's going to see he's going to see a lot of targets. Start him. Demaryius Thomas, I'm not a Demaryius Thomas fan, and his career has been really up and down. He has a problem catching the ball. He doesn't catch well, and he's supposed to be like an elite receiver, and he doesn't even catch well. But the past 2 weeks, he's been pretty decent. He has 2 touchdowns the past 2 weeks. So against Cincinnati, start him. Hey, start him. Emmanuel Sanders, definitely start him. Going on to tight ends, Tyler Kroft. He's had one or how many bad weeks? He's had 2 bad weeks in a row. He's actually become a really good target for Andy Dalton, honestly. I think it might be Dalton's fault, of course, but I would start Tyler Kroft. I actually know I would sit him, because he got to show me something before I bring him back in fantasy. Denver's defense or even Cincinnati's defense, start either one. It's gonna be a defensive game because, Cincinnati's defense isn't good. Broncos offense is horrible. Broncos defense is, I guess they're decent. Carson Wentz threw 4 TDs on them. Whatever you want to do. All right, going on to New England versus Oakland. New England, we got Tom Terrific. He's an automatic start, of course. You never sit him on the bench unless you got King Golf out there. No, I'm kidding. No, yeah, you never sit Brady. Maybe depending on the matchup. I'm not even going to go there. Carr, start him. New England's defense is 31st or 32nd in fantasy. They've been horrible with Tom Brady. Let me see. He threw 3 TDs against Denver. And I think Hogan's out. We know Edelman's been injured since preseason. I'm surprised Gronk not out, but he's in. When it comes to running backs, with Deion Lewis, James White, or Rex Burkhead from Plano, it's always a toss-up with running backs. New England running backs, it's always a toss-up. James White is the most consistent. I started James White last week in Yahoo Fantasy, and Deion Lewis returned the kick, and Rex Burkhead had like a touchdown and a block kick. It was just ridiculous. So I think James White had a touchdown too, but he still didn't have as many points as those 2. So, oh God, against Oakland, if I had to choose one, I would go James White or Burkhead. I would just go James White because he's consistent. Going to get you that 8 to 10 range. On the other side of the ball, I forgot Marshawn Lynch. Yeah, start him. He hasn't been having the best year, but I actually started him the week where he had 2 touchdowns against Baltimore. Wait, no, I'm tripping. No, I started him the week he had 2 touchdowns against Miami, 20 fantasy points, and there's a horrible defense in New England. Just go ahead and start him. I think this game's actually going to be a shootout. So receivers, B. Cooks, start him. I'm probably going to start the guy in Yahoo Daily Fantasy. The dude, Hogan's out, and Amendola's questionable. I think he might be out, and I think even Dorsett has been taking more snaps than Amendola, so definitely start Brandon Cooks. Michael Crabtree, I'm starting him. You should start him. It's going to be a shootout, and that's his favorite target. I know Amari Cooper had that one crazy game. That really was the majority of his stats this season. I would start him, though. So start all these receivers. Let me see. So that's them. Gronkowski, of course. Jared Cook has been having a good year. Start him. I would start him. I would start Jared Cook over, like Tyler Croft, or not over Austin Hooper though for the Falcons. I think we're going to talk about them soon. I wouldn't start him over him though. He's been having a decent year as a rookie. Oh, with the defenses, don't start either of these defenses. It's going to be a shootout. New England's going to give up a lot of points, and so is Oakland. On the salary, they have both of them at 10, which is the cutoff. That's the lowest because they know that the game's going to be a shootout, so I wouldn't even do it. If I had to choose between them, New England's defense, honestly. All right, Philadelphia versus Dallas. This is the one that's going to break a lot of you guys' hearts. Philadelphia is going to win 52-3. Carson Wentz, he's going to throw 5 touchdowns and 400 yards, and they're going to try to rub it in Dallas's face. So start Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott, don't start him, especially if there's no Tyron Smith. We already know Ezekiel Elliott's on suspension. Don't start Dak Prescott. His game last week, let's see. Yeah, he had 13 fantasy points, and, usually he's sort of like a top 6 fantasy guy. Don't start him. Running backs, Jay Ajayi, yeah, I'm starting him. He's going to be a start of the week, actually, because they're going to be up in this game because the Eagles have that high-powered offense. Dallas has a bad defense. They're no Ezekiel Elliott. Dez Bryant's still injured, sort of. I think he's going to play through with the ankle and a knee injury. They're not going to be able to keep up the points, especially with Tyron Smith being out. And I don't think that one guy's starting anymore. That one dude that took over for him, I can't remember his name. Golly, he's on so many memes. But I think they let the third teamer play or something. I'm not sure. But, and Philly gets to the QB, so it might get really ugly. Jay Ajayi is a start. LeGarrette Blount's not going to do anything for you. Corey Clement, he actually had a great game. Was that 2 weeks ago? Went for 25 fantasy points, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 1 receiving touchdown. I don't think that'll happen again, but yeah, sit him. McFadden, Alfred Morris, and Rod Smith. The only one worth looking at is Alfred Morris, but they're going to be down in this game, and he's not a pass catcher, so Rod Smith might be in the game. So Alfred Morris, don't start him unless you just pray he gets a goal line touchdown sometime. Rod Smith, I think he's going to be more involved because you're going to be losing. Alshon Jeffrey's questionable. I'm pretty sure he's going to play. So Alshon Jeffrey's a definite start. Nelson Aguilar, a shout out to him. He's had, since he came in the league, he was awful. Carson Wentz has him out there looking real nice. I mean, not even that. No, he's catching the ball now. He was dropping a lot of passes. This year he's actually catching the ball. I think like week 6 he had like 5 touchdowns or so. I actually have him in one of my leagues. Dude's been doing some work. So, yeah, start Alshon Jeffrey, start Nelson Aguilar, Dez Bryant. Not too sure about starting him. I mean, he's Dallas's number 1. I wouldn't start him over Alshon nor Nelson Aguilar. I would sit him, honestly. Cole Beasley, Terrence Williams, not even worth talking about. Zach Ertz, start him. He's caught. I think he's like the top 3 fantasy tight ends. He might be the number 2. Guy's been having a crazy year. I don't think he's had a game with like single-digit fantasy points. It's always been double digits. Dude's been having an insane year. Start Zach Ertz. Jason Witten, sit him. I have him in one of my leagues. He hasn't been doing much of anything. Defense, start Eagles defense right now. Start them as many times as you can. Start Eagles defense at quarterback, running back, receiver, kicker, defense. Start them at every position. Our last game. This video was an hour long, damn near. Atlanta versus Seahawks. Atlanta coming in, real having a disappointing year. It is the Monday night game. Disappointing year for Atlanta. Disappointing year for Matt Ryan. I actually drafted Matt Ryan. I want to say third or fourth round in fantasy. I thought that last year was just an insane year for him, dude. It was crazy. He was out there just looking like Breeze back in 2010. But he came back to reality this year. He hasn't been having a great year. Neither is Julio. Russell Wilson, he's been having a great year. He's been a great fantasy QB to lean on because they don't have a run game. So, Russell Wilson went from, rookie QB, not too many passes to more passes. And now they're a passing team, and it's insane. And it's great to see with Russell Wilson, too, because he's a great QB. He's a great guy. And I think I want to say he's 5'10", 5'11". Shout out to the 5'10", 5'11" crew. Under 6 foot crew, shout out. Okay, so with Ryan, sit him. Even though there's no Sherman, he's out for the year. It sucks. But sit Ryan. I've actually traded him. And you just got to sit him. Wilson, start him. He's going to shred this defense. Running backs, Devontae Freeman, he's going to be out. I want to say concussion. So Tevin Coleman's going to get all the carries. He's probably going to have 20, 25 carries possibly. I know what they did to Adrian Peterson, but Adrian Peterson's like a 45-year-old man. So Tevin Coleman, I say start him. The dude's a tank. He's like 6'2". I think he's like 225. Dude runs like a 4.4. I know what they did to AP, the great AP. He's one of the greatest running backs of all time when it goes down, when it's all said and done with. But Tevin Coleman, I think he might do a little bit better against that defense. Seahawks might as well not have a running back on their roster. Julio Jones is questionable. He had a horrific drop, last week or 2 weeks ago, 50-yard bomb in the back of the end zone, looking over his head, just, I just couldn't, but he was naked, like literally naked by 50 yards, and just puts it on the ground. Insane. I guess start him. I mean, he has a lot of yards, 1 touchdown, 700 yards, 1 touchdown. Disappointing year, Start him, but don't depend on him. Just don't. Doug Baldwin, start him. He sees like 12 targets a game. He's gonna have a good game. Paul Richardson, he's not gonna have that monster game like he did the other week where he had 2 touchdowns, 100 yards, and he went for 25 fantasy points. That's not gonna happen again. Probably not, but I would start him. If a wide receiver 2, 3, Sanu, I would say actually start Sanu, because Julio gets a lot of attention. So Mohamed Sanu is a good start every week. I don't think he's been having that great a year. I know he's been injured, but he's a start. I think he's a start. He didn't do nothing against Dallas, but I would start him if I have him on the team. Once again, wide receiver 3, maybe a flex. Lockett, God, you better pray he returns a kick. I don't think he has a touchdown this year. Yeah. Tight end, Austin Hooper, start him. Austin Hooper's he's surprised this year. I started him the week, I want to say this Jets week, where he had 13 fantasy points and a touchdown. I would start him. And we got Graham, the real deal. He's basically their goal line run offense, basically. Back in the end zone, the dude's like 6'7", 6'8", back in the end zone goal line situations, just give it to him. He scores. Put him on the outside against a corner, safety, 2 corners, doesn't matter. The guy's 6'8", just put it up at like 11 feet, and he's going to go get it. He has a lot of touchdowns this year. I know he caught 2 touchdowns, last week or the week before. So Jimmy Graham, he's a definite start. It says he's questionable, actually. Limited yesterday in practice. I'm starting him in a few of my leagues, and so I'm starting them. The defense, of course, start Seahawks defense. Even though Sherm's out, they still, have a defense that flies to the ball. They're crazy. They're crazy good. In Atlanta, stay away from their defense. So I think that's all the games. We got it wrapped up. If you made it to the end of this video, I'm sorry it was so lengthy, but it's my first one. I really wanted to do it thoroughly. So if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. I really just wanted to make a fantasy video because I love fantasy football, and I thought it'd be a lot of fun. And I know a lot of people, some people ask me for, fantasy advice every week. They'll text me or hit me up on Snap or on Facebook, just like, oh, dude, should I start him? Or should I, bench him or go with him? Who's going to be a sleeper this week? So I thought I'd just make a video, and it was a lot of fun. So, thank you guys, and catch you guys later.